welcome back to my channel, Emma Jane's Garden. I am down on the plot, as you can see, and it is a really hot day here in Cornwall, and it got me thinking that I hadn't shown you how I am going to do my plot this year. I don't know if I've spoken about it even, but I've decided to reevaluate how I was doing it. I was ending up with so many weeds at the end of the year that it became a little bit daunting. And I've been falling out of love slightly with the whole flower farming part of my floristry business. But I love growing. So that being said, I have been researching so many different ways of looking after plots. So I have looked at permaculture, Charles Dan's no dig, a lady that does lazy gardening, and I've kind of mixed them all up, and I'm doing a little bit of everything. And I found my own way, and I thought I would show you how I'm doing it. My ultimate aim is this is going to be a really, really easy way to look after the plot. So I want to spend more time doing floristry because that's my passion. I love growing the flowers, and I love having that attention to detail that I can put into my floristry by growing my own flowers. So I never want to stop, but I don't want to feel overwhelmed every spring that I've got all this to do and I don't know what to do. So there has to be a way of making this super easy. I'm not growing on a huge scale, I'm growing on a micro flower farming scale compared to a lot of other people, but this principle hopefully should help everybody. You just need to do it slightly differently. So I'm going to show you what I'm doing today, and then I'll show you some of the beds that I've already done. Okay, so this is where the compost pile was, which I've used loads of compost. Actually, you can see I've used loads of it, but I'm making a bed here because I have still got those phlox to move, which have started growing underneath the plastic. So what I'm doing, this is how I'm doing it. This is a trench that I'm digging here. This is a no dig way of doing it, but there are some digging bits to it, if that makes sense. I want it to be really easy so that next year I won't have to do quite so much work. But in the beginning, there's going to be quite a lot of work that goes into doing it this way. Fingers crossed it works, but obviously this is all an experiment, and I thought what better way to do it than let's just try it, let's just experiment, and I'll take you along with me and we'll see if it works. So this trench that I've dug is actually the path. So what I'm doing is I'm digging the path up and putting it onto the bed, hence the no dig, because I haven't dug the bed. So this is the trench, and this trench is about a spade's depth down all the way along, and I'll keep on going, and anything that's coming out of the trench is then going to become the bed, hence the no dig, because everything under that hasn't been dug. So this really makes them raised beds because they'll be raised up off the ground, which is a good thing because it aids drainage, and just I find a raised bed slightly easier because it's a little bit higher up, you're not having to bend down so much. And then what we're going to do with the trench is once I'm fully dug it, I'm going to fill it, the base, with cardboard, and then I'm going to put wood chip on top. So I didn't have any cardboard until yesterday, mainly because I hadn't brought it over. So I'll show you the ones I've done, but I haven't put cardboard on these ones. These two beds I did the other day, and I've done these in exactly the same way. So I dug a trench here. So this is the bed that we did a while ago, if you've watched any of my other videos, and the Phacelia is still taking its time to come up, but it is growing. But I've put a little bit of compost on the top, and I've been watering it, which does seem to be helping. So I dug a trench here. So all of this was a trench, and I put that over onto this. I then put some compost over the top, and then I planted I've got a row of snapdragons here all the way down, and I've got a row of larkspur, but somebody ate the rest of the larkspur, so I've had to resow some of the larkspur. But I've resown enough that I can fill this side, another row of larkspur as well. So this is a trench that is half done. Now I've half filled it with chippings, and then actually I should go and get the cardboard. So I have got the cardboard. So all the cardboard does is stops the weed coming up through the path, which just means that you're not going to get weeds in your path. It's one less thing to weed, isn't it? So I haven't done it on these two just because I didn't have any, and I can already see weeds coming. So I'm going to put some more cardboard down here and then put more chip-ins over the top. And then what you need to do, which I haven't done on these beds yet because this is all freshly planted, but I'll show you the next one down. So on the geum bed, you remember they're doing the geums? Look how amazing they are, they're actually flowering, which I didn't think they were going to do, so win-win. So this path's been done. This was a really deep path and I filled it with wood chippings that were really new, so they're going to stay there all year, so they'll just rot down. But this path, I've covered all of this bed with wood chippings that are older, so they were actually from underneath. It was from an old pile of wood chips that no one else wanted to use because they don't look so pretty. So what this acts as is a way to keep moisture into the soil. So as you saw on those beds up there, it's baking hot today and the top of the soil is literally drying out, as it's just drying the top layer out, and I've got seeds in that, which is why I'm having to keep on watering it, because the seeds weren't growing because the top layer was getting dry, which is where the seeds were trying to germinate. So what I'm doing by putting the wood chip on the top of the actual beds is forming a layer of mulch, basically. So it's a layer of mulch over the top of the bed, which is then going to act as a sponge. So when the rain comes or any moisture goes on it, that wood will, so once wood dies, it becomes quite sponge-like and it will act as a sponge to hold moisture in. But if it's a baking hot day like today, it will keep the moisture in the actual soil, and the top layer, obviously the wood chip will dry out and the moisture will be sucked out, but the soil won't be, the soil will still be damp. So let me show you that. Okay, so this is some soil that I dug yesterday, and as you can see it is drying out on the top. So I just got some weeds out of here and you can see it's wet underneath, but that whole top layer is completely drying out. So if we go over to the little geums, say hi to these guys, and you can see we've got some wood chip here, and then all we've got to do is just pull the wood chip back. See, it's quite a deep layer, and see how wet, in fact that is actually really, really wet. So that's really wet underneath. And yet this is all crispy and dry. So the sun is baking this, but not the stuff underneath. That's what I'm doing this year. I am going to test this whole thing right across the allotment and see if I can make this a really easy way of having a flower farm. Because doing it this way, I shouldn't have to water very much either. Now everywhere here we have water stations, but it has to be hand bucketed over to the plots. I'm lucky I've got one literally just there, but where my polytunnel is, it's further away, which means lugging things backwards and forwards, and my polytunnel is super dry at the moment. So I'm trying to get everything out of the polytunnel because I don't want to be watering too much this year. I just want to be able to pick, and I want to be able to come here and it be weed free, not have to do very much watering, be able to come, pick, go, do my floristry. That's what I want to do this year. So fingers crossed, come with me, see how this experiment goes. I'll be doing loads of videos on this year because I'm quite passionate about how this is going to work. I've just seen loads of ants in my compost. It's just freaking me out slightly. You'll know that if you've seen any of the other videos. I'll just walk backwards. So yeah, I'm going to be doing loads of videos on this year because it's something I'm really passionate about. Is that we don't need to like lose our minds over having to be weeding and watering and doing all this stuff. There has to be a better way. And if you look in nature, even boiling as hot as summers, woodlands and some grasslands all look good still. There has to be something to be said for how nature does it. So that's what I'm going to do. Anyway, this is a really quick introduction to what I'm doing this year on my plots. Loads more videos coming up, so please like and subscribe and press the bell icon, and then you'll know exactly when I've got more videos coming out. I'm even going to do some veg this year because I missed my veg last year. So if you're interested in growing vegetables or allotmenting, then follow along because I'll be doing that as well as the floristry and the flower farming. So yeah, I will see you in the next one. If you find any of these hints and tricks, yeah, Yeah, let's go with that. Hints and tricks. Useful, then please buy me a coffee. The link for coffee buying is down below, and that is super helpful because it means I can make loads more videos like this. And I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.